from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. This is Conversations with Lavish. It's time for us all to come together. Young, old, and everyone in between. Lavish talks about business, news, politics, networking, and anything else that's going on in the world. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lavish Towing, and on YouTube at Lavish T. Williams. This is Lavish T. Williams.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Sunday in Detroit. Today is Detroit's birthday. 313 is 313 day. I know many of you people out there, y'all probably out celebrating somewhere, but for the ones that's sitting at home or in front of their phones watching this podcast, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for tuning in and watching. So today, we got a special guest in the house. We got a beautiful young lady that's running for a seat on the bench as a judge, Third Circuit Court. I want to have her introduce herself. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes.
Go ahead. Let's hear it. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chastity Youngblood, and as Lavish said, I am running for one of the 5 open seats in the Wayne County Circuit Court, also known as Third Circuit Court.
All right. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna start off from the beginning. What made you want to, run to be a judge?
Well, I think probably since I was a teenager, I knew that the ultimate goal was to become a judge. But I've been a prosecutor with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for about 12 years now. And I've spent the bulk of my career in the General Trials Unit. So I've done trials ranging from guns, drugs, assaults of crimes, armed robberies, home invasions, homicides. I became a general trial team leader. So I went from being in the courtroom every day to being in the courtroom every day, but also training the newer attorneys as well and letting them come down and sit with me and try cases with me to get their trial experience. And then I went to the Conviction Integrity Unit, which is where I'm at now. And I just believe that this is the next step in my career and that I'm ready for it now. But it's always been the goal.
That's always been the goal.
It's always been the goal.
From childhood. Mm-hmm. From childhood. Okay, you lived your childhood dream. What high school did you go to?
Southwestern.
I knew you were going to say that.
Born and raised in Detroit. Went through Detroit public school system. Graduated from Southwestern High School. S.O.
Okay, well, we're going to represent Mumford. A better school, but that's cool. You went to Southwestern. It's a lot of greats that went to Southwestern. We got a lot of sports players that went to Southwestern. Southwestern is a decent school. It pushed out a lot of individuals that's doing great things with their lives right now. In college, you're an MSU student.
Yes, go green.
I'm with that. I'm a Spartans fan. I'm a Spartans fan.
If you was anything other, we was gonna have a problem in this podcast.
No,
right?
I'm a straight Spartans fan.
Okay. Good,
Although my family, they're Michigan fans.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Some of my favorite people are Michigan people. It's a friendly rivalry.
It's a friendly, definitely. So, when the games come, we definitely at odds because I'm the only one wearing green.
Hold it down for us.
Hold it, definitely. MSU was a great school. I spent a lot of time in Brody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brody boys.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time. That was a long time ago.
In trouble in Brody. That's what was going on.
Exactly. And I had a car when they wasn't supposed to have one. So then you went to Wayne State
for law school.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What year was this?
Did I go to law school?
Yeah.
I went to law school 2006 and I graduated in 2009.
And what year did you come out of high school?
2002. Why are you trying to age me?
No, because I got it. We got to get this age. We need to know how old you are, not because we care about the age, but we want to know about your accomplishments. Okay. Being young. So you came out in 2002 and you finished law school what year?
2009.
2009. Highly motivated individual. That's great. Work ethics, got to be strong. And you're also a mother.
Yes, 2 boys.
How do you balance it?
Ooh, it's rough. My oldest is 15. He's a freshman at Renaissance High School. And then I have a 5-year-old that is at kindergarten at David Ellis Academy. So my 15-year-old helps out a lot.
Okay.
And it takes a village. You know, their fathers help out a lot, grandparents, but it definitely takes a village and a lot of understanding on their part, especially with me campaigning now. I'm gone a lot more than they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of understanding and patience and understanding that this is just a season that we're in.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about campaigning that's coming up and what you're doing, and I know that takes a lot of time, but just to hear you got a 15-year-old, you were in college with your child, right?
No, I actually became pregnant with Jalen right after graduating from Michigan State. So I started law school pregnant.
Oh, that's even worse.
Man.
I mean, that's even worse. That's a lot of work right there.
I started law school pregnant. I had Jalen second semester of law school. I had him in February. You know, second semester starts January.
Oh, man. So listen, let me ask you this. You pregnant, you just started law school, baby coming. How did that affect you mentally, knowing what your goals were, but now you're a mother?
Motivation.
It was motivation.
Motivation.
Okay.
Like, I got to get this done now. I mean, you know, the crazy thing is, so when I graduated from Michigan State, I was going to Chicago Kent Law School on a scholarship.
Okay.
Found out I was pregnant, like, dang, I can't move to Chicago and have a baby and go to law school. I don't have no family in Chicago. So I'm like, switch the gears. I got to pivot. You know, taking time off from law school was not an option for me.
Okay.
So I'm like, how can I do everything? Okay, I got to go to Wayne State so I can be close to my mom, close to my aunt. I can still go to school. They going to watch the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stay on track. Because for me, taking time off, it was not going to happen. That's not what I wanted. I didn't feel like I needed to. I felt like I could do it.
Superwoman.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's good. And I say that's good because we have individuals, male and female, that use certain things in life as an excuse. Mm-hmm. But then you have others that use it as a push and a motivation. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't disappoint. And I guess that's what you did. Now, from what I read, you're the first generation of college.
Yes, in my family.
So that's an accomplishment right there, to be the first. And hopefully you definitely won't be the last. Anybody after you as of yet?
My children will be the people after me.
Okay.
I'm paving the way for them.
No, I mean, and that's all we need, like that first step. Sometimes people feel like they just can't do it until they look and see another individual. And with your case, a relative. They might see it and they might look like, well, you know, my cousin or my aunt, she did it, my sister did it. She went through law school, taking care of her baby. Taking care of her baby came with responsibilities, income, and she pushed through it, and now she's running to be a judge. You know, maybe that might spark motivation for, you know, the next family member, the next kin. So that's a big accomplishment. That's real big. How does your mother feel about that?
About what?
About you being the first.
Oh,
you
she's
know,
super proud.
I know she gotta
She
be.
is so proud of me. I mean, my mom is my rock. Single mom, raised me and my older brother. Everything that I am is because of my mom. So my work ethic, the type of mother that I am, the type of person that I am in general, it's all because of the woman that raised me. So I hope that, I know she's super proud of me, but I hope she knows that's a reflection of her.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you come from a single home?
I came from a single parent home. Yes, my mom raised me and my brother. She was a waitress the whole time I was growing up. So she raised us on waitress pay and tips. And, you know, we didn't know that we was poor, but now that I am a mother myself, I know how hard it must have been. Because, you know, I feel like I make a decent income, and some days I be like, dang, this is a lot. Like, where'd my check go?
No, big ups to your mother, man.
Yes,
You know,
for sure.
for doing what she did. And there's a lot of mothers out there. You were born in the 80s?
84.
84. So it's a lot of 80s parents that did a lot. You know, females. I mean, I know they don't get the credit they deserve. A lot of times we hear that a woman can't raise a man, and that's not always the case. I do think a man plays a strong part, but for that time frame, we had a lot of strong women out there that pushed out a lot of positive, great children. You know, male and female. So again, big shouts out to your mother for taking care of
shout
you
out
and
to
your
her.
brother and holding it down. So let's talk about work in the community. Do you have any?
Yes, I do a lot of volunteer work. I'm also a mentor. I was a mentor with Women of Tomorrow. They go into the Metro Detroit area high schools, and we are assigned a group of girls. We come up with a schedule. Each time we meet, we talk about different topics. That kind of stopped when COVID happened, but I'm also on the board of directors of Prim and Prosper, which is excuse me, another mentor organization that mentors high school girls. With COVID, we've kind of expanded now that a lot of our sessions are virtual, but before it was for girls in the Metro Detroit area as well.
Okay, now how do people get if they want to get involved with that? You know, how can they get involved with that?
Prim and Prosper is on Instagram, so you can DM. You can find them on Instagram at Prim and Prosper.
Okay, that's great. Now we want to get down to the nitty gritty. This is what I want to know. I want to talk about your work. First of all, you're a lawyer.
Correct.
That's it. You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You go, you do law, you get your degree. Did you practice out of college? Did you practice at a private firm, anything like that?
No, so right out of college is when I went to law school. And then after my first year of law school, I interned at the prosecutor's office. But I already knew that I was going to be a prosecutor. That was another thing that I knew since I was a teenager, that I was going to be a prosecutor and then I was going to be a judge. So I already had my career path laid out at a young age. So after first year of law school, I started interning at the prosecutor's office. I continued to intern there as well as other places throughout law school, kind of just to give myself the opportunity to see what else was out there. But I was always pulled back to criminal law and to the prosecutor's office. So once I graduated and I passed the bar exam, they were hiring, and I pretty much just got hired in.
Okay, because I was going to ask that next. How did you get to the prosecutor's office? But you wanted to be a prosecutor. Now, me on the outside, and I want you to break it down. I want you to break it down to me because I don't know the job of a prosecutor. Besides, your job as a prosecutor is to get a conviction.
Well, that's the misconception, though. Let's clear that up.
Okay, because I definitely want you to.
A lot of people think that that's what we're out to do. But if you have a real prosecutor is going to know that my job is not to get a conviction. They're going to know that my job is to make sure that justice is done and that the truth comes out. That doesn't always lead to a conviction. You have to know when it's time to say, okay, this is a valid motion filed by the defense. Okay, this was an invalid search or an illegal search. Okay, this statement should not come in because this person wasn't Mirandized. So I want to clear up that, you know, a good prosecutor will understand that that's not their job to get a conviction. And I hope the public knows that. No,
because we really don't. I mean, we see when we look at television, when we look at court shows, the prosecutor is always there to slam the individual. Mm-hmm. Just that. You never see the prosecutor trying to fight for this person's rights. It's always, we want to lock them up, we want to incarcerate them, we want to put them in jail. Mm-hmm. The lawyer, on the flip side, is fighting. And it's like you see so much negativity when it comes down to the prosecutors. You never hear any great stories from the prosecutors. You got prosecutors that's trying to lock your cousin up, your uncles up, your brothers up, your mothers up. So it's nothing that me on the outside can say, hey, this is a great prosecutor. And you being a prosecutor, you're young. People know you. People know what you do. How do they view you?
I like to think I'm viewed with a lot of respect. I don't hear anything bad on my name. But I think it's because of the type of prosecutor that I am and the reputation that I have built for myself. So I'm pretty sure, you know, you can call a defense attorney up right now and say, who is Chastity Youngblood? And they're going to say, she's good to try a case with because she's fair. Okay. She's going to call it like it is. If it needs to be dismissed, it's going to get dismissed. If she needs to concede on a motion, she's going to concede. But if we're going to trial, I know I got a fight on my hands. Like, she coming with her A game. So, you know, I do what I can when I feel like something needs to be done. But if we're going to trial, then I am going for that conviction.
Okay, and you have definitely been on trial.
I haven't been on trial, but I have tried cases.
Okay, you tried cases. Okay, so trying a case, you're not cutting no slack. Have you had sympathy?
If it's going to trial, no, I'm not cutting no slack.
None at all.
That's coming before we get to the trial date.
Okay.
I'm gonna do all I can do before we get to the trial date. When we get to the trial date, I'm gonna do my job.
Okay.
So it's my job to put the evidence on in front of the jury and to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this person committed the crime. So I'm gonna put the evidence on, whatever it may be, good or bad. If there may be some evidence that works against me, I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna give it all to the jury, and I'm gonna let the jury decide whether or not this person is guilty or innocent. Because that's not my job to decide that. It's just my job to present the evidence.
Okay. Now, when we talk about time, a lot of prosecutors suggest to the judge, we suggest 50 years, 100 years, life. Why so much time for certain crimes? Do you feel like some people are being sentenced over their guidelines, or do y'all just want to get the max? What's the purpose of a prosecutor? Let's say it's a crime and it carries a 7 to 20, and the prosecutor's going for the whole 20.
Well, I don't really see a lot of that where we're going for the top end of the guidelines. But I think that you have to take into consideration the type of crime it is, whether there was is it a victim crime? Was there injury? A lot of times if a judge is, and it's ultimately up to the judge, it's not up to the prosecutor. But if somebody is arguing to go over the guidelines, does this person have an extensive criminal history? Have they committed this type of crime before? So I think that those factors come into play. For me, I think it just depends on each individual case and the crime.
Okay. And I also want to ask, because I'm not in the law field, and you being there, I don't want you to answer if you can't, and I don't want you to feel like I'm putting your back against the wall with certain things. Mm-hmm. But being real to yourself and to people that's watching, do you think that the justice system is fair?
I think we like to think it's fair, but in reality, it's not, no.
Okay.
And that's why I'm a big advocate for criminal justice reform.
Okay. And I say that because we hear people, we see certain people where financially they don't have the funds to fight a case. And we see that they might not have done this. We know that, but they can't fight it. And the prosecutor, they don't care. It's just another, case, another caseload on their desk. We just, hey, let them settle. Let's let them take a cop. Deep down inside, I probably know that he didn't do it, but I need to close this case. He can cop out to 5 years.
No, I ain't agreeing with that.
Okay. Now I'm saying, so would you actually fight against that if you knew something wasn't right, being a prosecutor? Mm-hmm. Because again, keep in mind, me on the outside, I'm looking at it. The prosecutor, they don't care. We just another number. We just another case. We just another folder on the desk. Mm-hmm. When you look at it, you just got a pile of papers. Oh, Williams. Let me look at this. He can take a cop for 5 years. Didn't even look at it. Next case. So deep down inside, behind closed doors, is it really like that?
I mean, I'm going to say this. I think in any career you have, good prosecutors, the prosecutors who care, the prosecutors who are going to make sure they do the right thing. And then you probably have the prosecutors who, like you said, are just trying to push their caseload through. I think that happens in every career where, we have some good and some bad. For me, if I receive a case and I don't believe that this person did the crime, if I don't see the evidences before me, if I interview witnesses and they're lying, or I interview the victim and their story isn't adding up, I'm going to go talk to my supervisor like, this don't sound right to me. I can't try this case. The evidence isn't there. I've had cases where it's a police case and there are no civilian witnesses, and they say, for example, I had a case before a while ago where the reason for the stop was I think the license plate was obstructed by snow or something like that, right? So we get the scout car video, and I watched the video. The license plate is as clear as day. So we know that's an invalid stop. So I'm taking that to my supervisor. Like, we need to dismiss this. Or I had a case with some brothers in the Coney Island. They had, some stuff going on with the police. And when we get the video from the Coney Island, it ain't matching up to what the police say. So in those cases, I'm going to my supervisor because as a courtroom prosecutor, I don't have the power to just dismiss the case. That's above my pay grade. So I got to go, to the chain of command. So I'm going to make sure that I do my due diligence, and I'm going to go talk to the person that I need to talk to get the right result. Because like I said, for me, I'm not seeking a conviction in cases where I don't believe that there should be one.
Okay. Because I hear there's so many different issues and problems that people have when it comes down to the law. And you got people that's scared. They don't know. They don't know their rights. They're told XYZ at the station. Once the police, the detectives, they push the paperwork through, it's no turning back. And most of the time, I feel like a lot of individuals are railroaded with the lack of knowledge of the law.
I agree. People don't know their rights. They don't know their rights when they're pulled over. They feel like they may have to consent to the search or things like that. So I definitely feel like we need to be mentoring and educating the youth about their rights before they're put in a situation where they don't know what rights they have until it's too late.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be a great thing to do. I know that there's a lot of laws out there that they're not aware of. I know at times police use old laws, or they, you can correct my wording, they kind of play on certain laws and rules that are not really that common. Perfect example, I was talking to a judge, and she told me that it was nothing that she can really do about it because her job is to just pay attention to the facts that's on paper.
She can do about what? I need some clarification.
Yeah, I want to get to it. So the thing was, it was an officer, or the police. They seen a guy. He had a bulge in his pocket. Mm-hmm. So you already know what it is. I mean, There's no secret about it. You know what it is. Mm-hmm. But they didn't have a great reason to really stop him, bother him, pull him over, and their stop was he was standing out in the street talking in the car.
Where sidewalk was provided or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So when it comes to court, she knows the police use that as a reason to harass. And I won't even say harass because I guess he was doing his job, but it was like some trickery in the midst of doing his job, and that's how they were able to arrest him for the gun. When it comes to court, she's on the fence. She's knowing in the back of her mind, y'all really didn't have a reason to bother this guy. Y'all were probably riding around looking for someone to bother, and y'all used that law to have a reason to actually stop him, and that's what they did. And a lot of times, I'm sure more times than none, a lot of people are a victim of that.
I would say, yeah, I see a lot of those, a lot of similar fact patterns on the gun and drug cases.
Yeah, I think, I think that most of our men and women that's out there, we need to have more education when it comes down to the law. Out of your years of being a prosecutor, what was probably one of your toughest cases that you worked?
Toughest cases. I had a homicide that I did, and what made it tough was that none of the witnesses were here in Michigan. My witnesses were all in Ohio. The medical examiner, I think he had relocated to California or somewhere. So it wasn't difficult to try the case. I think sometimes the hardest thing is getting your witnesses to court. But the facts were pretty much some teenage kids came to Detroit from Ohio, one of their fathers rented a limousine and had the limo bring them, I believe, from Toledo to downtown Detroit to hang out. And they met up with someone that they didn't know, just someone random that ended up being in the same bar as them, left that bar with that individual. Ultimately, that individual ended up robbing them and shooting and killing the limousine driver over some drugs. So the facts were not hard, but trying to get, some witnesses don't want to come to court. They don't want to testify, particularly in murder cases. Understandably, they're scared. They're teenagers. So just trying to get everyone here from different states probably was the most difficult thing. The medical examiner was being difficult. He didn't want to fly back to Detroit. I need that evidence. I need somebody to say that this person was killed and, the cause and manner of death. So getting witnesses is a difficult thing.
Now, most of the cases, what would be most of the cases that you actually work as a prosecutor?
So I've been a prosecutor for 12 years. So when I started off, I was at 36 District Court. So I was doing the preliminary exams. I was only there for about 6 months, and then they put me over in the General Trials Unit. So when you're new to the General Trials Unit, you're doing lower level felonies. So the guns, the drugs, things like that, larcenings. As I moved on in my career, then I started doing the assaultive crimes, the armed robberies, the home invasions. I probably was in my career for about 3, maybe 4 years, and then I started doing the homicide cases. And once I proved that I could do those, it never ended. And then I ended up becoming a team leader. So then I was taking on specially assigned cases that were more complicated, that the normal courtroom prosecutor probably didn't have the experience to try. And I was doing all the capital cases.
Okay, that's big. You deal with these big murder, violent cases. Do you fear for yourself at times, seeing that, you're still human, and being human means you still live a regular life. You go out, you enjoy yourself. You don't want to have to look over your shoulders. We already live in a dangerous world where we have to do that anyway just to protect ourselves. But by you being a prosecutor, sitting over there with people that are very bad, killers and all kinds of murderers out there, when you leave work, do you leave work, or do work still be in the back of your mind as far as safety is concerned with you?
It's in the back of my mind, but sometimes, I think, let me make sure, after I finish the murder trial, let me make sure I'm aware of my surroundings when I'm walking to the car. But on a day-to-day basis, I don't really think about it when I'm leaving work. I have, had incidences where a defendant's family member, girlfriend, sister was in the courtroom, and, they're giving me that look like if we was on the street, it'd be a different case. But,
right.
And I've been escorted out of court before because people were waiting outside, but it's never been anything that escalated to anything serious.
That's great. Like I say, I ask those questions because these are thoughts that I might have. And then, when you deal with different people, you never know their mental state,
Yeah, it's weird, too, because, in my younger prosecutor years, I used to hang out a lot more often. And I would be, out somewhere, and somebody would come up to me like, do you work at 36th District? Are you a prosecutor? And I don't know, who this person is, because for me, I handle multiple cases throughout, the day, the week. But for them, they only got one prosecutor, so they're going to remember my face.
They're going to definitely remember your face and who you are.
Theirs. So I'm like, I don't know if this is the victim or a victim's family member or a defendant or one of their family members. So I had to start telling no, I don't work there, because I don't know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, you don't know. And then when you're there, you're vulnerable at that point. You don't know what can transpire, so.
Not me.
Yeah, that's
have a twin.
I just, because that could be a safety. That could definitely be a safety concern. And have you ever ran across anyone that you prosecuted that actually remembered you and said something to you, good or bad?
Yeah, I actually have. The funny part is, honestly, it's normally men. And when they see me later on in life, it's never animosity. It's actually, they try to like talk to me.
Okay.
So I've never been in a situation where a defendant of mine has walked up on me in a negative type of way. It's kind of like, hey, you remember me? You were my prosecutor. And, they trying to get my number after that or something. So.
And at that point, you're like, man, I don't even remember who you are, man.
No.
I got so many cases. I can't keep up. I can't keep up with them all. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about the unit that you're in.
Yes.
CIU, the Conviction Integrity Unit.
Yes.
What is all that about? What does that unit do?
So the Conviction Integrity Unit investigates cases of people who have already been convicted but maintain that they're innocent. So they can apply to the unit. That unit is headed by Valerie Newman, and we're a smaller unit. It's me, one other full-time prosecutor, and then we have a part-time prosecutor. So, and then Valerie does a lot of work as well. So we reinvestigate these cases. It takes us months to do. And then after our investigation, we make a recommendation to Prosecutor Kim Worthy about whether or not we believe someone has been wrongfully convicted. That's a newer unit. It was just established in 2018. And since the unit was established, we've been able to help over 30 people be exonerated or granted relief for a new trial because we were able to prove either one, that they were innocent, or that something happened during the course of their trial that would call into question the integrity of their verdict.
Okay, so now we got this. You're trying to get wrongfully convicted inmates out of prison.
Right.
The unit started 2018.
Mm-hmm.
2018 moving forward, people are being released. What about those individuals that died innocent, being incarcerated, and people that was incarcerated 20, 30 years ago? Who did they have to help fight for them to be released?
Well, there's been other innocence projects around the country. Just for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, it's a newer unit. And I'm working on a case right now from 1987. So I was literally, I think, 3 years old when this person was convicted for a murder. So unfortunately, a lot of our cases right now, and it doesn't have to be a homicide case. We take any case where somebody says that they were wrongfully convicted. But a lot of these people will spend the rest of their life in prison if they have already exhausted their appeals or have filed their 6500 motions in circuit court and were denied. So prior to the CIU, unfortunately, unless another Innocence Project picked up their case, there was no other remedy for them.
Wow. And I mean, that's when I go back to say, how I feel the law, the justice system fails a lot of individuals. Because now you have people, like you said, that exhausted their appeals and all of this other stuff. And then you got the integrity unit now that can actually be a stronger piece of the puzzle to help these people. And it's like, it's nothing they can do. Do you ever see that change, or that's just how it is?
Well, I think that the important thing that we need to be doing is making sure that we are getting more conviction integrity units in these prosecutors' office. So I know, I think Washtenaw County has started one, Macomb County, the Attorney General's office now has one. And Wayne County is really paving the way and being the model for what these other states and counties are looking at when they're starting up their conviction integrity unit. So, I mean, unless there's like changes in the laws, the conviction integrity unit is going to be a very important part in helping people who were wrongfully convicted prove their innocence.
And I know it's a blessing to them being released. Mm-hmm. How are they compensated?
Well, there's lawsuits that they file after their release. I don't deal too much into that, so I can't really say how that process works. Mm-hmm. My goal is to get them out, and then they do what they have to do as far as suing the county or the police department.
I mean, because it's beautiful to get someone out of prison that's been wrongfully convicted. Mm-hmm. That's a great thing. But in between that is so much time of life mm-hmm. that was lost that they can never get back.
Right.
Relatives dying. being a parent, they lose that,
Yeah.
you know, and it's sad when years later, the same individual that was in court fighting for his life is released for something that he knew. How do you guys pick a case? I mean, I'm sure you got, let's just use a number, 1 million people incarcerated, and you probably have 1 million people saying I'm innocent. So how do you know what case to go for and to move forward with versus someone that you know he's guilty? Why are we wasting our time?
So there's an application that the individual fills out. Either they can fill it out or a family member or someone on their behalf can fill it out. And our director, Valerie Newman, she does all the screening. So a part of the application is, do you have any new evidence, something that did not come out in trial? And you don't typically have to have that, but if you have something, if you have an affidavit from a witness that says, you know, I testified at trial, but I lied, or you have an affidavit from a new witness that maybe you had a private investigator go out and find, you send that in to us, and it kind of helps the screening process because, you know, like you said, it is hard to distinguish between those who say that they are innocent, but they actually did it, and those who are actually innocent. So that's why it takes us months to investigate these cases because, you know, if we are going to make a recommendation that someone was wrongfully convicted, we want to make sure that we got it right. So sometimes it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Sometimes you may, you know, go through a couple of cases where once you're done with your investigation, you say, no, there's nothing here that's showing me that relief should be granted. But when you get that case, though, and you're like, wow, let me do what I got to do to help this person get their freedom because there's no way. I don't even know how this person got convicted.
Now, I could be thinking like in too deep to be asking you, but you're here and it's like, who else would I ask? And you can let me know. But like when you have dirty police or when you have prosecutors that know the truth and you send this innocent person away and you find out that they're wrongly convicted and these people are still in those positions of law enforcement or in the courts, what happens with those individuals? Is it any backlash, any discipline, or is it just, oops, I didn't know if I'm even mentioned about it? How does that work?
So the bulk of, from what I know, the bulk of cases that have been granted relief, it's because we were able to prove some type of police misconduct or that witnesses lied. When it comes to the police, anytime that we have that issue arise, we notify internal affairs. I can't really speak too much on that, but internal affairs is definitely notified and gets involved and takes it from there. Okay, so it's not like, okay, the police can do what they want to do. Yeah, we don't turn a blind eye like, well, we're going to let this person go, but we're not going to, you know, throw the police under the bus. Like we bring attention to it. Okay. To who needs to know. Okay, that's great. No, I just, you know, it was important for me to ask that because, again, on the outside, we might look at it like, okay, yeah, our cousin got released from doing 20 years, but the officer that arrested him is still walking the streets laughing. You know, not in those exact words, but I just wanted to know that it is some type of discipline, some type of notice, some type of action that's possibly taking place. Now, 2018, when this unit first started, you were in the unit when it started or you came right after? I came after the unit started. So in 2018, when the unit started, they already had the people that they were going to start with. So there was no opening in the unit. But I always knew that when there was an opening that I wanted to go to that unit. Okay. So, and I remember before I went to the unit, one time I was still a courtroom prosecutor and a team leader. And I remember I was in court and Val had to come down to the court for something. And I had never met her before. I knew who she was in the office. I knew that she was the head of the unit, but we had never had an opportunity to formally be introduced yet. So when I saw her come in and she sat down behind me, I immediately turned around. I introduced myself to her and I told her, whenever there's an opening in your unit, I want to come because I love the work that y'all are doing. Okay. And then in 2000 and think it was 20. It was right before. Well, no, I think it was the 2019 is when the opening came through on the work email. And at that time, I was kind of burnt out in trials. I was doing like back-to-back homicides. I was training new attorneys. It was becoming a lot, and I needed a break. And then the email came out that there was an opening in the unit, and I was like, that's my exit. Because I already had it in my mind that, you know, when the opening came, I was gone. So, and I have a pretty good relationship with, you know, my supervisors and the higher up. So obviously they had to open it up to the office, and you had to submit your resume and letters of recommendation, and you had to interview for it. But I kind of already went to my supervisors like, yeah, y'all need to put me there.
Now, when these guys, they get released, from what I see, this is not just your job. Like, and when I say this is not just your job, from what I've seen from different pictures, you're not just saying, okay, great job, we closed this case, this guy is released. Mm-hmm. You actually play a part with keeping communication and relationships with these certain individuals. I can't say everyone, but you have different events, places, relationships that you built with these. So, I mean, I take that and I look at that as, you know, that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the work doesn't stop when you leave the office, right? And a lot of these guys, they are doing phenomenal work in the community. And in the summertime, we would have what's called Exoneration meetings. Okay. And so we would have the opportunity to meet up with them, you know, meet them in person. Because, you know, when they're going through the unit, you talk to them on the phone, but you know, they're incarcerated. We don't really drive to the prisons and do in-person interviews, especially, I think they did it a couple of times, but like I said, when I joined the unit, it literally, I interviewed for it at the end of 2019, but trials wouldn't let me go till 2020.
Okay.
They didn't want to let me go. So by the time I got there, it was literally 2 weeks before COVID. So we couldn't go back into the prisons or anything like that. So these meetings are kind of the first opportunity that you get to actually interact with, you know, the person whose case you may have worked on or helped out. And through those meetings, friendships are formed. Because we understand that at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same goal. We're all trying to get criminal justice reform passed here in Michigan and Wayne County. You know, we're trying to make sure that this doesn't happen to the next person. We're trying to make sure that those who are coming out of MDOC has the resources that they need. Like you said, they've been, you know, incarcerated for so long, so they have to readjust. So we make ourselves available because it's not just the end of the road getting them out. It's still being there for them afterwards. So a lot of these guys have become friends. They have events they invite me to. Kevin Harrington had a coat drive back in December for the kids. You know, I volunteered and went out there with him to pass out the coats. So a lot of these guys are doing phenomenal work, and they invite us to be a part of it. And then if we are having events, you know, we invite them out. So it's kind of, it goes beyond just being the prosecutor and an exoneree. It's a bond that's formed.
No, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Because, like I say, some people, they have a job. Mm-hmm. After they leave their job, that's just that. Mm-hmm. But to form relationships, then sometimes people have a stereotype, you know, of someone who may have been incarcerated coming home. Hey, I go to work, I do my job, but I don't want to, you know, patronize with them. I don't want to kick it with them. I don't want to go out here, you know, for whatever odd reason. But to actually see that you're involved with what you do, you're involved with their movement, definitely, you know, the ones that's doing positivity, you know, that's great. I mean, that's a big thing. I'm glad to see that and to know that you're an individual like that. So when you take an individual like you, that will, you know, go a long way in your campaign, because right now you're doing this before you even started running.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To even have that passion to help individuals. And the way that the world is now, I'm hoping that individuals out there are looking, paying attention, learning and seeing who you are, to see that you're a good person. You know, that you're on the good side, trying to help individuals versus just locking them all up, especially with this unit that you're in, trying to get these wrongfully convicted individuals out. As of right now, you said you did about 30. You got about 30 people out.
Well, I'm just saying the unit.
The unit, yeah. Let me correct that. The unit. How How many people are actually in this unit again?
There are, besides the head of the unit, there
Okay.
are 2 full-time prosecutors and 1 part-time prosecutor, and then we have 2 investigators.
Now, when they do their job, are they working case by case, or is it a collective effort?
So we all are assigned individual cases, but
Okay.
we work as a team.
Okay.
So we have meetings, and we bring our cases before the team and get feedback from the team. So individually, it's my case, but, you know, I'm taking it to my team to see, like, hey, did I cover, you know, all my bases, or I'm at a standstill. What do you think I should do next, or what lead do you think I should follow up on? So it is a team effort, but we all have our individual cases that we're assigned to.
Okay, and I know it's like we said earlier that it's a long process. How is the process when it comes to actually needing to talk to that inmate being incarcerated?
Oh, it's easy.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a very good relationship with MDOC. So anytime that we need to interview, whether it be the actual person whose case we're working on or witnesses that we have found out are locked up, we call MDOC and they set up that interview for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
MDOC works with us to make sure we are able to interview whoever we need to interview and,
Okay.
and get access to them.
No, that's definitely news to my ear, because I didn't know. I was wondering, did you have to wait, and did you have to send a letter out, wait on a response? I wasn't sure how the communication worked between the prosecuting office and the inmate.
Yeah,
So-
no, Valerie Newman has a very good relationship. She sets up all our interviews. So we tell her if we want to interview somebody, where they're located,
Okay.
you know, our schedule, what would be a good day, and then she reaches out and coordinates it with MDOC. But it's a very easy process.
Okay, that's great. That's cool, man. Glad to hear that. It's exciting. You out here, you still young. Does your age and gender play a role with your job? Is it like a man's field versus a woman's field? Is it you're a young person versus old? How does your age and gender play a role in your profession, if any?
Right now, I don't think that it really plays a role. I think when I first started out, it definitely played a role.
Okay.
As a newer attorney going into the courtroom, I already have a young face. So I found myself going against, you know, older attorneys, older men attorneys who thought that it was going to be a cakewalk. But, you know, I proved myself very quickly that I don't care how young I am, how young I look, you better be ready to try this case because I'm bringing my A game. So you're not dog walking me in this courtroom. So I think that I have built a reputation for myself where people already know, like, all right, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's going to be fair.
But it's not going to be easy. You putting up a fight. Yeah, I just had to ask because it seemed like every profession you have one gender that dominates, you know, that profession more than the other.
I definitely think it's a male-dominated field. We have more women coming into the field, but I definitely think that men think they run that field.
Okay.
Especially with newer attorneys and a newer female attorney.
Okay. Now, you being a female, I want you, and this is going into your personal life.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything, put you on the spot, you know, or go too deep in your personal life. But for you being a female prosecutor, and I want to say I'm only using female when it comes down to men, but I'm using prosecutor when it comes down to just life and people, being a mother and kids. When people talk to you, how do you view a regular conversation, seeing that you're a prosecutor? Is it just a regular conversation, or is it more in-depth thinking that goes on in your head? Can somebody tell you anything?
No, it's definitely hard to turn off the lawyer brain when I'm talking to people. I question everybody. Even if I don't verbalize it in my mind, I'm like, that ain't making no sense.
Yeah.
You know? So I think in terms of relationships, there's definitely a different dynamic because of what I do. You know, I'm a natural investigator. That's what I do at work. I'm a natural arguer. You know, that's what I do at work.
Yeah.
I think now that I'm older, I have honed it in
Okay.
so I can control it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can smell BS.
I mean, because that sounds like, if you're a guy, so you take men, you're a woman, I won't say us men. I don't want to single out, anybody, but sometimes we say whatever, and it's no big deal. Some women is just whatever. You being that prosecutor, does that whatever become something deeper in terms of, hold on, he said that he went to the store.
It depends on the topic. On the topic. I'm definitely going to follow up with some questions if I think I need to. If something ain't adding up, I might follow up with some questions. But if it's not a big deal, I've learned to pick my battles.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah,
I want to know
pick my battles. So.
If everything was a debate.
It's not.
A trial.
Not. It's not.
You said you went to the store at 10 o'clock.
Right.
But it take you 12 minutes to get there.
Right, the time ain't adding up.
It ain't adding up.
The math ain't mathing.
So, no, I was just wondering, how does that, if any, does it affect you at all as far as relationships and being a mother where I'm sure you got great kids, but being a mother where everything your children say is questioned more than a parent that's not in the criminal justice field?
I think with my 15-year-old, he knows not to try me. I mean, we've already built that relationship. So, and I don't have to question him. Like, I have no problems out of him. He's a very good kid. Now, this 5-year-old of mine, he gonna be the one and the two. Okay, we gonna have some problems probably because he tries me every chance he gets. This is definitely his world, and I'm just living in it and paying for it. But he's the one who challenges me.
Yeah. He don't know no better yet.
He don't know.
He got a lot of learning to do.
Listen, it's funny how you can have 2 kids and they're completely different personality wise.
Right.
And I'm like, dang.
So you got night and day over there.
Night and day. Yeah. Jalen is, I think, my twin. Literally, just who I am as a person. I see it reflected in Jalen. Carter is a very good mixture of me and his dad.
Okay.
The best parts of us and the worst parts of us. So it's a little bit more of I'm learning a lot more patience than I had to use with Jalen.
Patience do come with time. I had to learn that myself. Let's talk more, while we still got some time, let's talk more about the judge running for this seat. What upcoming events or plans do you have as of now, if any?
So I will be at Detroit SIP. I believe that's on March 26th. They are having a women's event because it is International Women's History Month, or National Women's History Month. And that is March 26th, I believe, at Detroit SIP. And the time is from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I will be there with my petitions, getting signatures. I spend my weeks going to different events, community events, political events, getting signatures, because before I can even get on the ballot, I have to have a minimum of 4,000 signatures. The goal is to turn in at least 6,000 to give myself a cushion.
Correct.
So right now, the main goal is to get the signatures done because they are due April 19th. So weekends, I'm going to different events. I'm going to different churches. So you can follow me on Instagram at Youngblood for Judge. I'm also on Facebook, Youngblood for Judge. And any events that I'm going to will be posted on there.
Now, how many more signatures do you have left to get?
I don't want to give away my secrets. I don't know who might be watching this. But no,
Are you close? Are you close to your number, your expected goal of what you want to get?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. Good.
And for anyone out there that would like to help her get some signatures, you can go to her website or find her out at one of these events. A lot of individuals out there, if you're watching this show and if you're paying attention, we need to be more involved in the voting process and what's going on out here. The last election, the voting turnout was very low. And the older people, and I take nothing away from the older people that's out here, but they're going to get old, and the younger people are going to get older and become them. And if we don't get out here and exercise our right to vote, we're letting go of so much power. And when you look into neighborhoods and you look into the criminal justice field and you look at anything else that has to do with elections and policies and laws and changes, we're not being as active as we should. And the smarter people are taking advantage of us because we're not out there voting. We're not asking questions. We're not out there. So I'm hoping that people out there watching, I would like for you to get more involved with elections, with voting. A lot of times I go out and I talk to people and they don't even know that it's an election year. Mm-hmm. They don't know who's running. They don't know who sitting on the bench. Only thing they can tell you is who the president is and maybe the mayor.
And that's
of their
unfortunate because they don't realize that these local elections and the people that they're electing into those offices are really the people who directly impact their lives.
Correct. So I want more people to get involved, and I would like for you guys that's listening to get involved with her because she's a great person, and I think that she'll make a great judge, seeing that she's active, she's fighting for what's right, she's helping get inmates out of prison, wrongfully convicted inmates, and I think I need some of the people that's watching to sign that petition because we got to get her on the ballot. We need to get more of us, and when I say us, it's not necessarily a race thing, more of our peers. We need to get more of our peers in these positions to help individuals out. You know, we hear a lot of people always talking about what's not right. Well, we got the right to vote to make things right. So let's start educating ourselves on that. We need to get her some more signatures. Where else would you be at? And what's a good place where people can find you, or how can they go about helping you get these signatures if they want to, help you?
So they can go to my website. It is www.youngbloodforjudge.com. And on my website, there is a volunteer tab or a get involved tab. And that will have on there where they can check off if they want to sign the petition, if they want to take a petition on my behalf and have, their network, their family, their friends sign. So that could be the best way to contact me to let me know that you directly want to be involved with the campaign, particularly right now with getting the signature. So again, that's www.youngbloodforjudge.com.
And it doesn't take much. She's not running a citywide race. This is a county-wide race. So that means people that live in Detroit to Belleville.
Yep. Anywhere in Wayne County, as long as you are a registered voter within Wayne County, you can sign the petition. Correct.
And I hope most of you guys are registered voters. Yes. If you have a driver's license, if you're over 18, go out there and register to vote. It does not take much time at all. Exercise your right to vote. That's what I need the people to do. Exercise your right to vote. We got to get people out there. We need to get her on the bench. We need to see her names on some courtroom door.
Yes, speak it into existence.
Yes, we need to get her out there. And the cutoff time for those petitions, is it April 15th?
The 19th.
The 19th. Okay. So she got a little over a month, and she need to get as many signatures as possible. So even if you guys got events that's coming up where it's going to be people there, feel free to reach out to our website, get in contact with her some type of way, social media, however you got to do, invite her out. I mean, if she's there for an hour and a half, and if she can get 50 signatures is a lot. A lot of people, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to fill out something. They don't know what it is. I don't want to. I'm this. But sometimes we need to take the time out to listen to a person, not see the lady standing outside with a clipboard and brush her off, because you just never know how effectful and impactful she can be down the road in your life. Mm-hmm. So I want to leave that with that. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Just that, for me, it's important for people to know that I really stand on criminal justice reform. The work that I do in the CIU is definitely bringing a light to the work that still needs to be done within the system. So that's my passion. That's what I love to do. That's why I joined that unit. And I want to make sure that people know a judge should not only be trying to make sure our communities are safe, but they should be making sure that an individual's rights are upheld, that everyone has equal access under the law to the court system, and that we are holding these police agencies accountable for misconduct. So I'm aware of that. I'm aware that the system is broken, and I'm aware of the fact that when we know somewhere down the line someone got it wrong, that it is our job to make sure that we correct the error. So you can find me again on Facebook and Instagram at Youngblood for Judge. My email is youngbloodforjudge@gmail.com, and my website is www.youngbloodforjudge.com.
All right, cool. It was something else that I was going to say. Okay, here it is. So today we got her on here, but I want her to become a returning guest on the show. And I want her to come on here with some of the individuals that she helped get free, because I want to go more in depth on what's going on, hear how she worked with them, how they feel about her and the work that she's doing. And I want her to be a regular guest on here, and I definitely want to help her get her name out here. I use my platform as much as I can, because we all need to come together and help our people. We need to help individuals, great people that's doing stuff. We need to help put them in the positions, put them in them spots for a change and to do better. So I'm inviting her back on the show. The date has not been confirmed yet, but we're going to get her back on the show. Y'all shall see and hear from her a lot more. And I want y'all to share her name, Youngblood. You're not connected to any of the Youngblood downtown, are you?
No.
Okay.
No relation.
No relation. But she got a powerful name, Youngblood. Let's hope that last name help win this election out there. You know how name recognition goes a long way. So we're going to end this show. I appreciate you for coming to the show, sharing what you shared. No problem at all. Again, I'm here to help build relationships. I'm here to help get you out there as much as I can. That's like my contribution, to see an individual such as yourself grow and gain and get into these positions, because I might need you one day. Your cousin, your uncle, my people, we might need an individual like you that's going to fight for what's right. So again, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that's watching this show, watching this podcast, tuning in. If you can, go to my YouTube page, follow, like, and subscribe, Lavish T. Williams. You can follow me on Instagram, and also make sure you go to her website. Go ahead and say it again.
www.youngbloodforjudge.com.
Youngbloodforjudge.com. Y'all make sure y'all check it out. It's a pretty dope website. It got her bio, her information on there, the contacts. Y'all check it out. Youngblood, we got to get her up in here. We got to get this beautiful young lady on the bench as our judge, someone that's fighting for us and out in the community with the people she helped free. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Y'all have a great weekend. Good night, great work week, and be safe out there.
Good night.